What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and today I'm going to be talking about the worst game of this decade, the absolute worst game of this decade, meaning from around 2005 to now, of course. I don't mean going into the future, because obviously we're not there yet, just from those years. And if you were wondering, it's not Ghosts or Advanced Warfare. Well, those games are complete and fucking shit piles, Ghosts and Advanced Warfare. Those do not even compare to this game that I'm about to tell you. Ready? Want to hear what the worst game of this decade that I've ever played is? The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. We know how Ghosts and Advanced Warfare are bad, but those are just bad in terms of Call of Duties. Compared to this game, they are actually decent games compared to Walking Dead Survival Instinct. And if you know me, that's saying a lot, because Call of Duty Ghosts is one of the worst. I think it is the worst Call of Duty ever made, and Advanced Warfare follows up with that at his second worst. But here with the Walking Dead Survival Instinct, it's just a complete shit bomb. I mean, there's nothing that is satisfying about this game at all. I'm going to be playing gameplay here, and as you could see, this game is just terrible. The worst parts about it that I'm going to explain are the graphics. The graphics look like PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 graphics. They're nothing innovative. They're nothing that looks like it came out even in 2013. The developers, of course, are Terminal Reality. They made Ghostbusters back in 2010, I believe the year was. So that game was decent, but this game doesn't even compare. They're two different levels of games. One is good, which is Ghostbusters, and that was based off of obviously the movies, and that was a decent game. But this game by the same company it just was shit. It's literally garbage. And along with the gameplay, the lighting effects are horrible. Sometimes it's hard to see enemies at night. Sometimes I can't see enemies even in the daytime. The whole game is based off of this fuel system where you have to go around scavenging and looking for fuel all the time. They basically quoted it as being an open world survival game, which it is completely not an open world survival game at all. The game developers lied about that. You're not going around driving anywhere. The traveling sequences are fucking terrible. You hit start, proceed to map, choose your characters, and then you just go to the map and watch it through the entire playthrough. There's nothing spectacular about it. You just sit there and watch the red dashes go along. How is this fun? This is supposed to be an open world survival game as they quoted it, and it's just not. The gameplay value anyways is only between 5 and 6 hours, so adding longevity would have been a great option here, but instead they just decided not to do that. Now the worst things about this game, the absolute worst things that I cannot stand about this game, are the minimap in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and the zombie attack sequences. Those by far completely shit on this game ever being good, because the minimap, first of all, let's start with that one. The minimap is just a directional arrow which points in a direction. Doesn't seem that bad at first, right? But when you're on multi-leveled floors of buildings and such, it's difficult to find out where you're actually going, because you could just be walking into a wall, not know, and then be like, oh, there we go, it's supposed to be downstairs. I don't understand what the developers were thinking when they were designing this minimap. It's nothing like any other game that I've ever seen before. I don't even remember if in any other game before there has just been a minimap where it's just a red arrow that tells me which direction to go. It's not a map at all. It's just a directional arrow pointing in a random direction that tells you where to go. You know how like games usually, if they have arrows in them, they tell you, oh, go this way and then go that way. But the game doesn't even do that. They just spread out the checkpoints. So the checkpoint, it'll point the arrow going into the checkpoint, and it's like you have to take different turns there. So the arrow could be going in a completely different direction than you actually need to go. The arrow is no help, and most of the times I just end up getting lost with the arrow. In the zombie knifing sequence, this is the worst part of the game. I mean, the minimap is really bad, and it's one of the worst parts of the game, but this is even worse. If you get attacked by one zombie, which, by the way, the zombies in this game don't even try to attack if they're facing you. They just sit there like a stuffed animal, not doing a damn thing at all. But when they actually come at you in groups, it's terrifying, because you go into the zombie knifing sequence, which is so difficult to get out of, because you're just going to be standing there trying to stab zombies in the head while the other zombies just patiently wait for you. I mean, in the TV show of AMC's The Walking Dead, The zombies don't do that. If they come at you in groups, they at least all try and attack you at the same time, but not here in this game. No, that's not what happens. They come at you, and they patiently wait in line for the first zombie to be killed so you can attack the second zombie. I get it, so you don't attack all of them at once, but just the shitty gameplay mechanics and the controls in general just make this all compass into one package of absolute shit. So before, when this game was actually announced in late 2012, Walking Dead fans who played video games were actually really excited about this to come out. They were like, this is the best thing ever. I actually pre-ordered the game. The game was $50, and we basically wasted our time. The whole campaign maybe lasts 5.5 hours if I had to guess, and the herd mode you had to pre-order to get, which the herd mode is basically, you could think of it like Treyarch Zombies, except it's shittier because there's some objectives, of course, that you have to do, but there's no long-lasting play value to it, because at least in Treyarch Zombies, you try and rack up on the leaderboards. Now in Black Ops 3, you will be able to rank up your character in Zombies, your progression level, but here, there's just nothing. You're not playing with anyone, and the game doesn't even offer online multiplayer, so it's not like you could be having fun. I mean, you could talk to someone else while they're playing the herd mode too, but just to make it a pre-order exclusive was really shitty on their part. So, there you have it. That's why this game is the worst game of the decade. Now, I have seen worse games here on YouTube being played by other people in earlier years, because obviously video games weren't perfected then, but of late games that came out recently, this is the worst one that I've ever played. So leave a comment below what your thoughts are, of course, on this game. And one last thing, or other games as well, maybe you think one is shittier, which I highly doubt, but also, before you go, just please make sure, if you have any copies in your house or in your Xbox at all, just eject the disc and obliterate it into a million pieces.